home. So great and peaceful, isn't it? Well, maybe not anymore. Earth is being destroyed by human activity. Maybe your life is great and your home is not melting, but trust me, in time you'll see the effects. Even if you ignore all the harm that comes to animals and nature, very soon humanity will be greatly affected by the problems we cause. You may wonder, what did I do to the world? Well, overpopulation, pollution, burning fossil fuels, deforestation, soil erosion, poor air quality, undrinkable water, food waste, biodiversity are some of them, and they are the causes of major problems such as global warming, climate change, greenhouse effect, and animal agriculture. I know it seems harmless, but we'll get to it. So, let's see what these major issues are. First one is climate change. Climate change is a broad term used to refer to changes in Earth's climate at local, regional, or global scales, and can also refer to the effects of these changes. Climate change includes both global warming driven by human emission of greenhouse gases and resulting large-scale shifts in weather patterns. We can say that it is a result of all other problems. Therefore, let's move on to another problem that affects climate change. Global warming. Global warming is long-term heating of Earth's climate system observed since pre-industrial period, due to human activities, primarily fossil fuel burning, which increases heat-trapping greenhouse gas levels in Earth's atmosphere. The term is frequently used interchangeably with the term climate change, though the latter refers to both human and naturally produced warming and its effects it has on our planet. Global warming is most commonly measured as the average increase in Earth's global surface temperature. And the most important things that increase the Earth's global surface temperature are greenhouse gases, which brings us to the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is warming that happens when certain gases in Earth's atmosphere trap heat. These gases let in light but keep it from escaping, like a glass walls of a greenhouse, hence the name. Sunlight shines onto the Earth's surface, where the energy is absorbed, and then radiates back into the Earth's atmosphere as heat. In atmosphere, greenhouse gas manacles trap some of the heat and the rest escapes into space. The more greenhouse gases concentrate in atmosphere, the more heat gets locked up in molecules. So, now that we know what greenhouse effect, let's find out what are greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide, a minor but very important component of atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is released through natural processes such as respiration and volcano eruptions, and through human activities such as deforestation, land use changes, animal agriculture, and burning fossil fuels. Humans have increased atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration by 47% since the Industrial Revolution began, and it is responsible for 64% of human-made global warming. And the other greenhouse gas is methane, a hydrocarbon gas produced both through natural sources and human activities, including the composition of wastes in landfills, agriculture, and especially rice cultivation, as well as ruminant digestion and manure management associated with domestic livestock. On a molecular basis, methane is far more active greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, but also the one which is more or less abundant in the atmosphere, and is responsible for 17% of human-made global warming. And the next one is Nitro Oxide, a powerful greenhouse gas produced by soil cultivation practices, especially use of commercial and organic fertilizers, fossil fuel combustion, nitric acid production, and biomass burning, and is responsible for 6% of human-made global warming. Last but not least, water vapor, the most abundant greenhouse gas, but importantly, it acts as a feedback to the climate. Water vapor increases as Earth's atmosphere warms, but so does the possibility of clouds and precipitation, of making these some of the most important feedback mechanisms to the greenhouse effect. And there are other fluorinated gases, but I guess that's enough. Let's move on to another problem. Animal agriculture. This part is very surprising, and you may learn information you never heard of before. Though much of the world is focused on transitioning away fossil fuels as a way to fight climate change, there is another, often overlooked climate change culprit: animal agriculture and its environmental impact. Animal agriculture is the second largest contributor to human-made greenhouse gas emission after fossil fuels and is a leading cause of deforestation, water and air pollution, and biodiversity loss. First, we'll see animal agriculture's effect on climate change, then we'll look at animal agriculture's effects on pollution and biodiversity loss. Let's begin. Animal agriculture is responsible for 18% of greenhouse gas emission, more than the combined exhaust from all transportation. Livestock and their byproducts account for at least 32 million tons of carbon dioxide per year, another way of saying 51% of worldwide greenhouse gas emissions. Livestock is responsible for 65% of all human-related emissions of Nitro Oxide. But sadly, the list goes on. Now we'll see animal agriculture's effect on water pollution. 10,000 liters of water are needed to produce 500 grams of beef. 2,000 liters of water are required to produce almost 500 grams of eggs, and 3,500 liters of water are needed for 500 grams of cheese. Almost 4,000 liters of water are required to produce 4 liters of milk. And animal agriculture is responsible for 30% of all water consumption in the world today. Well, surprising, isn't it? This topic's pretty long and maybe needs some video, but we're gonna see some random facts about animal agriculture, then we're gonna move on. Livestock covers 45% of Earth's total land. A farm with 2,500 dairy cows produces the same amount of waste as a city of 411,000 people. If we don't change anything, we could see fishless ocean by 2049. Scientists estimate as many as 650,000 whales, dolphins, and seals are killed every year by fishing vessels. Animal agriculture is responsible for up to 91% of Amazon destruction. We are currently growing enough livestock food to feed 10 billion people. And that was all. But you're interested, you should definitely check more about it. So, now we know all the problems and what causes them. There's only one thing we need to know before we take action. What will happen if we continue live like that? Well, scientists have high confidence that global temperatures will continue to rise for decades. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change forecasts a temperature rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius over the next century. When you first hear it, 1.5 degree doesn't seem that important, but if that happens, many places will warm faster and see far greater temperature increases. For example, the Arctic warms 3 times faster than any other place on the Earth. The effects of global heating are far-reaching, including rising sea levels, changing in the timing of seasonal events, and rise in the frequency and severity in extreme weather events. These categories of impacts have direct and indirect consequences on people and wildlife. Direct consequences include displacement of people and communities due to sea level rise and extreme weather events, whereas indirect consequences may include disruptions to economic development, food production, escalation in weather crisis, and increased public health risk. The impact of climate change will not be evenly felt around the world. People living in the poorest countries in geographically vulnerable regions, such as small island states, will be first and most significantly impacted. And each fractional degree of warming also results in outside impacts on biodiversity and species extinction. Even if carbon emissions in the atmosphere can be observed and stabilized over a long period of time, many of impacts on wildlife, land, water, and people will be irreversible once they occur, which makes halting the release of greenhouse gas emissions and limiting global warming as much as possible the first priority. So I hope now we are all agree that we must do something. Let's see what we can do. The first thing is being informed. one of the best things you can do is to keep yourself informed. Get yourself caught up on the facts, stay updated with recent news on the state of natural worlds, and work out what you can do. And try to inform people gently. There are many people who don't even know that we're in danger, so give information as much as you can. And the next suggestion is that eat sustainably. As we mentioned before, your diet can change a lot of things. Moving away from a meat-dominated diet towards the more plant-based diet can lower your impact on the environment, so try to eat plant-based as much as you can. And the next one is reducing our waste. We need to make wasting our resources unacceptable in all aspects in our life. Every product we buy has an environmental footprint and could end up in a landfill. The impact of plastic pollution in our oceans is becoming increasingly clear, having direct impacts on marine life. We should recycle our waste, but not just the products we buy. It's estimated that a third of all food produced in the world is lost or waste. Do your bit by eating leftovers and use any ingredients you have spare to make interesting meals. Try to waste as little as possible and compost organic waste you can't eat. And the other suggestion is use less water. You can easily conserve water by really simple adjustments. For example, turn off the tap while you brush your teeth. Fix leaky faucets. Collect and use rainwater for watering plants. Use water filter. Shorten your showers by a few minutes. Only run your dishwasher or washing machine when it's full. Consume foods that has less carbon footprint. In this way, with simple things, you can decrease your water use. And the next one is buy local. Buying local reduces the use of fossil fuels. Food mines not only consume energy, but they contribute to poor air quality. So, try to buy local. And the sixth one is choose reusable over single use. Think about how many people you see each day drinking beverages from disposable cups or disposable bottles. Speaking from disposable straws, carrying disposable grocery bags, eating from disposable plates or containers. All that single-use plastic has to go somewhere, and it had devastating effect on our soil, oceans and marine life. Switch to reusable items and make a commitment to use them as often as possible. You'll have less trash and you'll be helping to protect the environment in a major way. And the next one is watch out what you buy. We can all do more to be more conscious about what we buy and where we buy it from. Buying less will save you money, reduce your waste, and improve your environmental footprint. Living a less consumeristic lifestyle can benefit you and our planet. And of course, you use your purchasing power and make sure your money is going towards positive change. By supporting eco-friendly products, which are less damaging to the environment, you're encouraging companies to source and produce their products in a sustainable way. These are some precautions you can take in your daily life. And of course, these can be further diversified. But the important thing is doing something before it's too late.